24th of every year is declared as World Tuberculosis Day. It's a day set aside to create awareness on tuberculosis, which has turned to a global epidemic. On today's episode of the program, we'll be looking at what is tuberculosis, mode of transmission, emerging issues, and we'll also be discussing the United Nations high-level meeting that was held last year, September 2018. We'll be talking about the issues that came up from that meeting and the way forward. Plus, in our special segment, Dr. Eddie Osage will be standing by to talk on endometriosis. Before we continue the program, we'll go on the streets now to find out what people know about tuberculosis. My name is Nkem Okibe. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I don't know anything about tuberculosis because none of my family have it, and I don't pray such thing to happen to my family.
I just thought is that it's a kind of disease that can take lives when it lingers. And I was also told that maybe if someone uses anything that belongs to the disease, that it can easily affect.
I know that is a cough, but
TB, I believe, is that disease that are killing people.
If you're just joining us, the program is Health Watch, reaching you on NC Lagos Channel 10, the station for excellence. Our focus today is on tuberculosis, and we went on the street to find out what people know about tuberculosis. Joining me today on the program is Chibuike Amechi. He is a WHO consultant on tuberculosis engage approach. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Now, talking about tuberculosis, I think it's important we understand what tuberculosis is first.
Okay. Tuberculosis is an infection of the lung and other parts of the body caused by Mycobacterium bacilli. Mm-hmm. We say pulmonary tuberculosis, that is basically the lungs region, extrapulmonary, other parts and some other organs of the body, mm-hmm. like the spine, and probably also the bone and some other parts. Once it's outside the lungs, it is called extrapulmonary tuberculosis. It can happen any part of the body, okay, depending on the environment and the level of exposure to the microorganism.
What are the modes of transmission? Because the reports has shown that people do have a deep idea of what tuberculosis is. That means they are also not aware of the modes of transmission, which is very dangerous.
Yes, tuberculosis basically is in the air. It's a microorganism in the air. The air has a lot of microorganisms, and a person is exposed depending on the type of environment that person lives in. So when we talk about the mode of transmission, we will look at what is the type of environment that predisposes or disposes a person to being infected with the microorganism, microbacterium that causes tuberculosis. Dirty environment, stuffy houses, congregational houses where a lot of people will live together in one place, like we will say in our place, face me, I face you. Environment where there's a lot of dust in the air. So these are the environments that exposes one to tuberculosis.
Now let's look at the emerging issues. What are the evolving issues as regards to TB?
Emerging issues, before we talk about emerging issues, we start from the baseline. We've talked about low awareness, so which means people do not know that continuous coughing for more than 2 weeks could be a sign of TB. And night sweat, weight loss, loss of appetite. These are some of the signs and symptoms of TB. And when this happens, the surest way and the best way to know that one has TB is to go for diagnosis. And then that diagnosis is basically we have the sputum smell, which is common here. But now, technology has come into TB. There is now the gene expert tool for diagnosing TB, which gives you the result in under 24 hours, quite unlike the sputum smell that takes up to 3 to 4 days. So once this is identified that this there's diagnosis and identified that one is affected, then the next thing is treatment. TB is treated. TB is cured. The drugs for TB are available and they are free. And mostly in the public health sector, TB treatment, TB drugs are free. But the challenge patients have with TB drugs is that it takes a long time, up to 6 months to be treated. So there's a possibility of people getting tired of it and then falling out of the line. And that's where also the work of CSO comes up to follow up on those that have been enrolled in treatment to ensure that they complete their treatment. So the emerging issue on diagnosis is there are new technologies for treating, for diagnosing TB. One of them is gene expert. There are several others that are under research. They're trying to find out, because the idea is to get the shortest, just like malaria, rollout. You can just do just a simple punch to the hand. You get to know malaria, whether you have malaria or not. So I think TB diagnosis research is going towards that end. Just with a simple test, you'll be able to identify that there's a TB infection in someone. Okay. So the technology is really on. And then also, due to this lack of awareness, the target right now is to find all TB missing cases. And
what do you mean by TB missing cases?
Yeah, what it means is there are people that have TB that are not treated. There are people that have TB that have not been notified, they have not shown up, they have not come up to say that they have TB.
Are they aware that they have TB?
Some may be aware, some may not be aware.
And for those that are aware, what do you think is responsible for them to ignore the treatment? What would be responsible for that?
There are alternatives. You see, our people who have alternative treatment here. We have also health-seeking behavior, where people say, okay, you have had this cough for more than 1 year, you just simply go to the chemist to get an antibiotic. Here we really don't go strictly by prescription drugs. And TB is a prescription drug. You can't just go and just get TB drug from the chemist. It has to be prescribed. But due to our health-seeking behavior, people will just go and buy to treat cough, not knowing that they are infected. And once there's an infection, there must be diagnosis to confirm and then to be placed on prescribed TB drug for treatment. So the missing TB cases are those that are infected, that are supposed to have been placed on treatment, but not on treatment, but they're infected. So they are the missing cases. So the target now is to find these people. Where are they? Who are they? Why are they not on treatment? What are the factors surrounding their effect? So once this is done, once you find these people, then they are notified, placed on treatment, diagnosed, notified, placed on treatment, and then it continues. So the target is to find the missing TB cases.
Okay. You are a WHO consultant on TB Engage approach.
Yes.
I'm sure that you are aware of the United Nations high-level meeting held last year.
Yes.
We'll go on a break. When we'll come back, you'll be telling us more about it. We'll be right back. Health Watch continues in a moment. Stay with us. If you're just joining us, the program is Health Watch, reaching your NTA Lagos Channel 10 station for excellence. Our guest today, Chibuke Amici, is still in the house. Before we went on the break, I talked about the fact that you are a WHO consultant on TB Engage approach. That means you are actively participating in every program or conferences all around the world. Now, there was a high-level meeting last year held by the United Nations, and they called on the heads of states. The important thing that you need to share with us is what are the modalities that were discussed there? What's the way forward?
Yeah, the high-level meeting that was in New York last year, it was a global momentum that was generated to end TB, because TB has become a global issue, a disease that re-emerged in every part of the region of the world. TB has re-emerged, and it has become a serious issue, which not just only TB, but it has, due to the lapses and all the gaps over the years, TB drug became an issue. So it has even gone to multi-drug resistant TB. Not just, that is to say, the drugs that we are treating TB effectively before, we are no more doing that now. So, and this drug resistant, multi-drug resistant TB is increasing. As the number of people that have been infected with multi-drug resistant TB is increasing globally. So it has become a global challenge, such that the Stop TB Partnership, led a global movement, calling on all heads of states in the world to declare TB as a global emergency. What does that mean? That means that all countries in the world should declare TB as a health emergency in their countries and make commitment to end TB.
Let me quickly ask, how long does it take for the treatment to be completed? How long?
For TB itself, 6 months. Now, for the multi-drug TB, for the multi-drug resistant TB treatment, it takes up to 2 years. But now research, a lot of research is going on. Some drugs are coming on board to reduce it to, say, 9 months. So these are the emerging. In fact, TB research and drug diagnosis and vaccines has become alive. Why I say have become alive now is because a lot of efforts, a lot of technology has come in. Even finding the missing TB cases, a lot of technology has gone into TB screening. A lot of technology have gone into it. A lot of studies, a lot of things have gone. Tools are now available to do systematic screening that will actually detect infected people. And once they're detected and placed on treatment, and with treatment supporters and other program activities that supports the treatment, people are ready to go to complete the treatment and then be free and be cured, satisfied cured, because TB is curable.
What's the way forward? Because we just talked about the high level meeting.
Okay.
Yes. What's the way forward?
Okay. The way forward is for the heads of state that have made a commitment to end TB in their various regions, in their various countries, to stay committed to end TB. What are the commitments? Domestic funding for TB, like in Nigeria. We know our health budget is still an issue. Our national health budgets have not reached the Abuja Declaration of 2015 of 15% of the whole national budget. So the Nigerian government should get our health budget to that and do special allocation for TB. We've seen in Nigeria right now that, in fact, a national survey on TB that was on either last year or 2 years ago came out to show that Nigeria, the WHO estimated TB burden in Nigeria. The survey showed that Nigeria is 3 times more than the estimated WHO burden.
Wow.
So Nigeria, in fact, globally, Nigeria is ranking one of the highest countries with TB burden. So our government at the state level, at national level, at local government level, need to commit to fund TB program. If we are actually, donors funding cannot solve our TB problem in Nigeria, definitely. So our health budget has to not only get into the target, but there has to be special. In fact, the commitment actually is that, just like HIV, a special fund should be dedicated to TB, finding TB, missing TB cases, treating all TB cases, and also ensuring that there is continuous sensitization, continuous awareness. Our president was there, at the high-level meeting. He signed the document. Our Minister of Health was there. So the next thing is we need to keep on them. Both civil society, journalists, the media need to keep pushing that the international commitment, Nigerian commitment to our government commitment to end TB by 20. It's not that it's just end TB and no target. It's a target by 2030. The target is said that TB should no more be a global burden.
Thank you so much for coming on Health Watch. You need to continue the good work. We are all stakeholders, the media and people like you. We need to continue to tell the world the danger signs and also the danger behind you not even going out to access treatment. But there are two different things. When you find out you have TB and you say to yourself, because the problem we have in this part of the world is when you say to yourself, I will not be sick, and you start to pray. Yes, prayer works. In fact, that's the first thing you should do, but you should also see your doctor. Thank you so much for coming on the Health Watch.
Thank you.
And that's the much we can take on this week's episode of Health Watch. Remember that health-conscious people live longer. One of the things you have to do for yourself is for you to look around, observe people around you, your loved ones, your colleagues. If you suspect anyone coughing for more than 2 weeks, please advise the person to see a doctor. You cannot continue to buy drugs over the counter. You need doctor's prescription. Send a text only to 07060865487. Send a mail to okibinkem@gmail.com and HealthWatch NTA Lagos Channel 10 @gmail.com. Thank you for being part of this week's edition of Health Watch. See you next week.